For 30 years, Curtis Springer operated his Zyzex Mineral Springs, selling health, religion, and the Springer specialty, Andaluvian herb tea. But then the troubles with the government over who owned the land finally caught up with him in 1974, and he was evicted.
Oh, I never did explain Zyzex, did I? Curtis invented it to be phonetically or alphabetically the last word, nothing more than that. But then he incorporated that in his advertising, both in literature and on radio. He'd say things like, "Come to Zyzex Mineral Springs, the last word in health."
Well, according to the Bureau of Land Management, legally, hell has frozen over, and Springer will never get Zyzex back.
Zyzex is currently this Desert Studies Center, which is about 3 hours from both Joshua Tree and LA. So it's just far enough out to be a trip. One of the reasons to do high desert test sites programming here was to continue to keep that sense of exploration and that feeling of discovery and learning. And also it keeps things interesting for both Andrea and I.
We've salvaged some of the old resort signs and everything. I brought this out of mothballs today so you could see it. This would have been posted here at the building. To kind of underscore the religious underpinnings of his ministry here and his foundation and his mission here, he developed the pool in the shape of a cross. And then if you wanted to sun yourself on the slabs out here, these pipes sticking up would provide cool water to flood the surface and cool it down.
So it's always a little hard to explain what high desert test sites is because we're sort of deliberately not trying to make an institution, but it's a nonprofit entity that it's a support entity for work that sort of lives in the world at large. So this weekend, High Desert Test Sites is been curated by Aurora Tang. It's all about water in the sense that being in the desert's only possible because of water, and so water takes on this special, I would probably call it like a life force. We have a mix of different artists that we work with, and some are local, like people that we discover out here who we think are like really amazing and inspirational, and we sort of want to bring more attention to them.
The desert, I think, is a place of escaping civilization. My film really looks at this attempt to escape the aging bodies of the retirees in the Healing Mineral Spring in Florida. They travel there every year in hopes that the water will alleviate illness and restore health.
We do a lot of different things, but the sort of trademark thing are these big events that we create.
Well, hello everybody. My name is Matt Coolidge. I'll be talking about Lakes of the Mojave.
Like we have an audience here that's not necessarily an art audience, but people who are really interested and willing to support art that inserts itself directly into the world. I don't know, I like working with Aurora so much, and we talk like at length about what it is and what it isn't and what it should be and what there's a necessity for and how art functions.
I thought it's absurd that people are going to water stores to buy water when their tap water is perfectly safe, but realized that they didn't think their water was safe. The primary consumer of this water was immigrant populations who had come from countries where their tap water wasn't safe. I realized they had some really interesting names, and that's actually what drew me to them. The process of photographing the water stores was really more about the idea of taking this pilgrimage, looking for, in a sense, these sacred springs.
Sometimes we'll send people off to these remote sites to look for projects, and they won't find it with our little primitive driving maps. But the thing is, they're never usually that upset about it because they found something else equally amazing that they might not otherwise have found.
We bought 100 acres of land to use that we let artists do projects on, and we wanted to find parcels where you wouldn't ever necessarily see two artworks at the same time. We've always tried to help artists find situations to make their work where it can retain that kind of quality of unknowableness. If you're sort of out somewhere and you see some weird, amazing, inexplicable object, you can wonder about it for days. It's been this constant discussion about how to remain a support entity without becoming another institution that's commissioning people to do works, and that's a very, very fine line to walk.
So I believe in about 15 minutes there is a lecture scheduled in the main hall down there. You might want to go up and use the restroom if needed, and thank you very much for attending. Okay.